We continue live on the Borders and Borders hotline. Bob Pompeani and Gene Collier with you tonight at 412-575-2600. We also take your tweets, and we have some. Mike Vernon says, Gene, Bob, what Steelers are realistically in line to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton? Greenwood? Shell? Well, I think both those guys deserve it, but I think Donnie Shell was one of the guys, Gene, when they made that line in the sand, the line of demarcation, as too many Steelers are in, I think he was one of the guys who got penalized because of it. If you look at his numbers at safety, you're not going to find many people in NFL history with the kind of numbers that Donnie Shell put up. And I don't know why he's not in.
Yeah, I don't know. Is he past that first phase?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just never see his name anywhere. I think L.C. Greenwood has a legit. I think Andy Russell is a guy who could be there. And, you know, I think coming up next is Alan Faneca. He'll be in next year. He was a finalist this past year. Did not make the cut. Last 2 years. I think eventually he will. He should, don't you?
Yeah, Alan Faneca was a great player. If you look at the teams he played for, not just the Steelers, they were always in the top 10 in rushing in the league. And he was a good pass protector, too. Jason
Elbert on Twitter says, Trevor Williams has shown the way. Tyler Glasnow should look at him. I'm sorry, I'm reading it wrong. But anyway, his point is Trevor Williams has been consistently good. Tyler Glasnow has not. A lot of it has to do with wildness up here. Tyler Glasnow has been wild when he is, and Trevor's pretty good about keeping things intact. Let's go to Chris in Uniontown. What's up, Chris? How you doing?
Hey, Bob, how you doing tonight? I don't want you to laugh at me tonight. What would it take to get Verlander off Detroit? What prospects would we have to give up?
Too much cash.
What money would they have to put in? We could get Verlander and put him in our rotation.
And one of the reasons, and that's not happening, and one of the reasons is Detroit can't get rid of him. There are a lot of teams out there who would like to have him, but they don't want to pick up the Look at what they have in terms of money invested. They got rid of J.D. Martinez, who's a good acquisition for Arizona, Gene, but they also have Miggy Cabrera and his enormous contract, which they can't move. They also have Verlander and his enormous contract, which they cannot move, and they have another guy out there. Who am I missing?
Are they still paying Scherzer or Fister?
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't think Scherzer was. He left it as a free agent, didn't he? To sign with Washington.
That sounds right.
And he jacked up the price when he went there. But I mean, they got too many big. Ian Kinsler's making a lot of money. So is maybe not as much as those guys.
Verlander's a $20 million
yeah,
pitcher.
and Miggy Cabrera has what, 25, 30 million a year. I mean, he's
That's
making
all you need to know
money
about the Pirates and Verlander.
So
Verlander's a $20 million pitcher.
All right, let's go to Joey in Salzburg. Hey, Joey, what's up?
Hey, Bob. I had a question for you. Do you know, from things I've read, it sounds like the Steeler organization is, and especially Ben, is really starting to get frustrated with the NFL over Bryant still not being reinstated. I mean, I would have thought by now if he would have failed a test or not gone to the counseling they want him to, he would have been punished with another suspension and be let go by the Steelers. But I haven't heard anything. I heard he was working with that team, high school team in Nevada, and he's still isn't reinstated.
Well, Jerry Dulac of the Post-Gazette tweeted that his sources tell him that this week he will be. And, you know, he makes a good point, the caller, Gene, because what is he, if he's still there, it tells you he hasn't done anything other than maybe not comply with whatever scheduling he has to do. But if it was something that was going to jeopardize his status on this year's team, they probably would have alerted the team by now. He's just hanging around. Don't they owe it to him and to them and to everyone just to figure out what's going on and get it done?
Well, you would think, I mean, that's one plausible interpretation, but the other one is that he owes them something. Apparently they're waiting for him to do something. I don't know what it is. Complete a term paper? I don't know. But it's not getting done, and I'm not going to blame either side until it becomes evident.
Yeah, I agree. I put a note into his agent the other day, and all I got back was, hey, he's done everything he's supposed to do. So I don't know what that means. No one's talking, though. We can't get a lot of information. So hopefully this week will be the weekend he gets back. All right, Joe in Hampton is next. What's up, Joe? How you doing?
Hello.
Go ahead, you're on.
Who was the winning pitcher yesterday when Rodriguez hit that home run?
That was Neverdaskus.
What's his name?
Donatas, I can't say it.
Davidas
Neverauskas. Neverauskas. He got released today, or actually sent down when they brought in Contos, who did pitch tonight.
Neverauskas.
Yeah.
Neverauskas.
Davidas Neverauskas. It's another name that could be in the Friday preseason game if he wasn't a baseball player.
He probably is. And you should say what he is, whether he is or not.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Joe.
Bob, how are you
What's
tonight?
up, Joe in Hampton? Go ahead.
Hey, listen, that pitcher sounds like a Russian powerlifter.
Yeah, well, he's
Ukrainian.
Ukrainian.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm calling about.
Oh, I thought that was
the
it.
weekend, so I waited till you got back in the chair. A guy called you on the phone about a week ago, Bob, and you were touching upon the subject matter of Andrew McCutcheon being traded in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
The guy called you and said there's no way they can trade McCutcheon. He's as great as Roberto Clemente was. Now, that guy should go back to watching wiffle ball, Bob. He should never watch another game again in his life. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Can you watch wiffle ball? Because
You
I
can.
haven't seen it. Really?
Somewhere on one of these wonderful networks of television, you can find something. Maybe there's a reality wiffle ball show out there, Gene. There could be, for all we know.
Well, it's probably on its own channel.
Well, they have Naked and Afraid, right? So you could have whiffing on wiffle ball. Where are we going here next, Jared? Let's go out to Kirk in Harmer. What's up, Kirk? How you doing?
Oh, pretty good, Bob. How are you?
Well, we're good, I guess.
All right, Gene, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, listen, for that week leading up to the trade deadline, I listened to all these talk shows about sports and trades and read all the columnists and the sports writers. And the point that everybody seemed to have missed,
Sorry to hear that.
what, Bob, you're smart, man. What's the
Yes, he
main
is.
reason why that Nutting won't spend any money on the Pirates? And I'll give you a hint. The last 2 winters, we've had less than 20 inches of it.
The reason, well,
It's a snow job, I think.
it is
he
a snow
says.
job.
Yeah.
That was his point. But, I mean, the bottom line is, listen, you're preaching to the choir when it comes to increasing spending. I've advocated that, and I'm not doing it to the point where I want to see somebody sign a Verlander contract or a Miggy Cabrera contract. I want to see when they have an opportunity to help their team, they spend some money and do it. That's all. I don't think that's unreasonable, do you, Gene?
No, we've said that on this show 50 million times.
It's a broken record. We're due for a break. We'll come back with more calls right after this on Pittsburgh CW.